Hello, and thank you for joining us. We'll wait a minute or two to give people an opportunity to join the meeting. All right. Well, hello, and thank you for joining us today. We are excited to host the second informational webinar on the Community Rides Grant Program. My name is Al Benedict, and I'm the Technology Tools Lead at RTAP, and I'm also overseeing the Community Rides Grant Program. I'm joined by Kara Marcus, who is going to be helping to manage the chat and Q&A, and also give a brief overview of RTAP. I'll turn it over to you, Kara.
Next slide, please. Great. If you're unfamiliar with National RTAP, we're a National Rural Transit Assistance Program, and we're a technical assistance center funded by the Federal Transit Administration, FTA, through its Section 5311 Rural Program. We provide free training materials and technical assistance to rural and tribal transit providers and to the state RTAPs. We're governed by a review board, which is composed of state DOT and rural and tribal transit agency staff. You can learn more about us at our website, nationalrtap.org. Next. We really do a lot. We're here for you. We have training, manuals, books, discs, thumb drives, videos, slides, e-learning, both for frontline staff and for transit management. Lots of information and best practices via technical briefs, toolkits, topic guides, articles, and news. We have a newsletter. And technology tools, that's Al's province. We have them for procurement, cost allocation, which we'll talk about, website building, GTFS, and scheduling. Peer networking and training via webinars like this one, conferences, roundtables, and online forums. And last but not least, technical assistance through reference services and tech support, one-to-one and small groups. Bring us your questions. We'll get you your answers. Next. A little housekeeping. Al is going to be doing the presentation, and if you have a question, you don't have to hold on to it. You could use the Q&A to ask questions at any point during the webinar, and they'll be answered after the formal presentation. And at that point, you'll also be able to talk if you want to ask your question verbally. So you can also use the chat if you're having technical difficulties with Zoom. We will do our best to help you. So back to Al.
Great. Thanks, Kara. So today, just to give you an overview, we're going to a couple slides from the last webinar just to kind of go over some of the grant program highlights and eligibility requirements. We'll then walk through the grants portal just to give everyone a sense of what it's like and how to use it. And then at the end, we have a few slides on our cost allocation calculator. That is a resource that's available for you to use for your proposals. And at the end, we'll have time for questions. But again, as Kara mentioned, please use them to the Q&A, and then we'll get those loaded up. And this recording, along with the Q&A document, will be posted to the Community Rides Grant webpage. And from a webinar we held last week, that's the Q&A is on the webpage as well as the recording. So just to give everyone a sense, this is the national, the Community Rides Grant webpage. This is really kind of where we're keeping everything for this project, for the proposals and the RFP process. There you'll be able to see the webinar recordings. There's a number of helpful resources to help you think through your proposals. And at the bottom of the webpage, there's some great information on past grantee projects, summaries and final presentations, that just to give you a sense of some of the previous Community Rides Grant projects and while you think through yours. And again, the questions from this webinar will be added to the Community Rides Grant webpage when this week or by Monday at the latest. So just a quick overview of some of the the eligibility and the funding. So there's $250,000 available this year that we will be distributing, and it's annual. It'll be an annual funding amount. So we'll have a Community Rides Grant Program next year as well. This is really, the Community Rides Grant Program is really aimed at supporting local partnerships to improve access to critical needs like employment, healthcare, education, healthy food, really the needs of communities, the needs of rural communities. And this program is really aimed at providing some funding to help projects get started or off the ground, or perhaps to supplement projects that are currently underway that to help support an aspect or particular piece of them. There's additional resources available for tribal projects. We're working on that now, and we'll make that available. And the grant awards can be up to $100,000 and a minimum of $25,000. The funding will be distributed on a monthly basis. You'll invoice RTAP, and then we will, the time spent and costs incurred, and then we will reimburse the projects. And the eligible applicants are rural or tribal systems that receive or are eligible for 5311 funding. What's not eligible are vehicle purchases and expenses for existing transit service. Those are not eligible under the grants program. And this is all in the RFP, but I just wanted to call it a few of the highlights here. So where we are right now in the process, we released the RFP in early July. We had our first informational webinar last week. And again, that's available on the website, on the Community Rides Grant webpage. Here, the grant application portal opened today, and there's a link to that on the Community Rides webpage. And we're holding our informational webinar number 2. And the grant applications are due at the end of August, and we hope to make an announcement mid-October. And then between October and the project starts, which is January 2026, we'll be working with the selected grantees to and just help plan and get things ready for the launch of the project. And then all projects need to be done by December 2026, and the final reporting materials are due in March of 2027. So what we're here to really talk about today is the grants portal. There's a link to it, and again, that's available. There's a link to it on the Community Rides Grant webpage. If you don't already have a login, the first thing to do would be to register for to access the portal. And so, click on that, and there's a simple form, SurveyMonkey Apply, that you would fill out. And then check your email for the confirmation registration. Click through that, and you'll be taken to this page where the first step is really to check the eligibility of your project. And so there's 5 questions, and these are in the RFP as well, but there's 5 questions that you'll be asked. And the first 3 you need to answer yes to. Those are you the lead applicant receiving 5311 funding? Do you have authorization from your transit agency's executive management or governing board? Do you have a written agreement from a partner organization? And then no to these 2 questions. Does your organization have any outstanding legal or financial issues? And does your proposal involve using funds to purchase a vehicle? After answering those questions, you will then be taken to this page where you can click through to then access the grants application portal itself by clicking through the apply. You'll be asked the first step would then be to name your project. And I don't think this could be really anything, but I don't think you can go in and edit it after. So, think about a name that might be descriptive of your project. It could be the city name or the project name, or, but I don't believe you'll be able to edit this in the future. And so, but then once you create that application, you're ready to go, and you'll be taken to the application dashboard. And these are the different questions within there. And each of these kind of open up, and we'll go through them quickly today, but we do encourage applicants to familiarize themselves with the portal ahead of time, just so that you're aware of, you're able to log in, for example, and you know what how to use it. And then the application itself can be edited throughout this process. But once you hit the submit button, then you can no longer edit it. Another interesting piece is you can add a team member or, for example, a project partner. So you can collaborate with someone on the proposal too, maybe different sections of the narrative, or if somebody's going to work on the budget. So you can add somebody else to help work on the proposal itself and to collaborate with. So we'll go through these quickly, but the first one is applicant information. And this is what that form looks like. And this should be for the lead applicant, the 5311 recipient. There's some more details below, but really it's just the information, name, address, and some information about the geography of the city where you live, the rural area where you live. Moving down, there's the project summary. And again, these questions are in the RFP itself, but think about this as your elevator pitch, a short summary describing the project purpose, goals, objectives, and anticipated outcomes. And then you'll move to the narrative. And this is really at the heart of the application portal and the process. Here you'll be asked to identify your project partners, describe how the project is consistent with or coordinated with local, regional, or state plans, identify performance measures, describe the scalability of the project, and then provide the project description and what needs the project addresses and how it supports the Community Rides grant program. When you're working on this, you can cut and paste if you're working in Word or Google Docs, and the word limits will pop up while you're working on it. So once you start working, you'll see the word count, so you can see where all that sits. The next step is the project timeline. So this is a year project, up to a year project. So there's 4 quarters here. You can have multiple project milestones for each quarter. And here you would list the project milestones and check the appropriate quarter that you plan to complete those. And in particular, below, we do ask, we're really interested in learning about the first 30 days and what are some of the things that you'll be taking on to really launch the project. You're not going to be launching the service necessarily if you're planning new service, but really what are the steps you're going to be taking in that first month to really move things forward. The budget template. So this right here, that when you go to this tab, you'll be able to, it's kind of highlighted at the top, you'll be able to access the budget template. So you would download that to your computer, you would work on it, and then you would attach it back to this, back to the portal as an Excel file. We'll just kind of quickly go over the budget template. The first page is the instructions. So the top part of the offers instructions and just some of the different eligibility requirements and the payment. And below that, there's the budget categories and what's eligible under this. And the next tab is the project budget, followed by the milestones, and then we have a sample milestones. So this is the template itself. And so the selected projects would begin work in January up to 12 months, and they would all end December 2026. And the grant funds will be distributed on that monthly basis based on expenses incurred. And we would then reimburse you. The personnel costs should specify salary costs, hourly rate, number of staff, number of hours, and the associated fringe benefits and how fringe is calculated to carry out project activities. The indirect costs may be included in the budget. If you have a federally approved indirect rate, you can use that. If not, please provide some details on the indirect rate and how you came up with that. And then here's the project budget by milestones. Here we're asking for you to identify some of the key milestones, activities, accomplishments, the corresponding with the project and the estimated hours spending for these goals. And these should align with the quarterly milestones that you noted in the other section. And here to give you, there's also a sample of the milestones. Here, this is really just an example, but some potential milestones might include project planning meetings with partners and finalizing the partner MOUs, develop and distribute community surveys, community stakeholder meetings, implement new or expanded service, and then service evaluation. Again, this is a sample, but just to give you a sense of what that would look like. And then again, those milestones would align with the quarterly milestones that you noted in the other section. And then the budget narrative. Here you would note, this is really gives you an opportunity to describe the budget and the line items in the budget template. You would note if additional staff support or in-kind contributions will be provided by the applicant or partner agencies. For example, and drawing from one of the past Community Rides grantees, the county helped support the technology and they were able to use 5311 capital funding to purchase the vehicles. So here you would note if you are planning to use outside funding sources for the project and how those will be secured if not already available. And again, just kind of this another opportunity to reiterate, if you go to the Community Rides Grant webpage, you can find information about the past grantees and how they were able to really use the local partnerships to move these projects forward. Here, there's a required, this is the local partner required letter of support. So you would upload the letter of commitment. You'd attach the file, it could be a PDF or a Word document. And this letter should describe the planned role of the partner in the proposed project, along with any anticipated support. Moving forward, there's also an opportunity to upload, this is the letter of authorization from the Transit Agency Executive or Governing Board. And here, you just a letter authorizing this project and their support from it from the executive staff of the projects to move forward. Here's an opportunity for you. If there's other partners that you're working with, you can upload up to 4 letters of support from community stakeholders or project partners, and just really describing their role in the project and how they why they support it and how they will be helping to move it forward. Again, this is optional, but it gives an opportunity if there are multiple partners to really highlight that in the proposal. And then at the end of the portal here, you can upload supporting documents. This too is optional, but this does offer an opportunity to really help you demonstrate the need in the community and how this project aligns with existing transportation plans or community plans in the area. You can attach up to 20 pages. We ask if you kind of call out different sections, excuse me, and this should also parallel the narrative if you're using any of these examples. But you can upload up to 20 pages of supporting documents to really help build the case for your project and why it's important and what needs it's addressing in the community itself. And when the application is complete, once you've filled out all the required steps, there will be like a green circle there, a checkbox, and you can then, once that's done, you would then hit the submit button, and you'll be able to review it throughout this process until you hit the submit button. Once you've done that, then you will no longer be able to review it, and then you will be you'll hit submit, and then you check your email, and you should receive a confirmation email. If you don't, please reach out to us. But do check your email for that confirmation email from the grants portal. And when you're done, the page will look like this, and you won't be able to make any more edits or changes, but you will be able to review your application. But this is what it'll look like when it's completed and once you've submitted it. I thought we could take a break for questions if there are any. If there's not, we can jump right into the cost allocation calculator. So the cost allocation calculator, this is a tool that RTAP, you can access it from their website under technology tools. This isn't required, and the RFP notes other options that are available, but we want to make people aware of it because really understanding the cost, the operational costs of new or expanded services is really important for planning and also the longevity of a program beyond this grant period. And so clicking through the cost allocation calculator, there's two versions that you can use. There's an Excel version and there's also an Access version. On the web page itself, if you go to RTAP and under the technology tools there's, in addition to accessing the calculator, the two different versions, there's tutorial videos, there's a resource guide, there's information on how to use it, all right there on the web page itself. And then this is the cost allocation calculator. It's a two variable calculator tool to calculate the operational costs of transit service using time, that's hours of operation, and distance, that's miles based on costs like fuel and vehicle maintenance. The different costs are then added together and summarized to come up with the total operational cost per service. And service examples might include fixed route, demand response, van pool, volunteer driver programs, and others. There are other tools available, and in the RFP, as I mentioned, notes those, but we really wanted to call this one out as a possibility for you to use for your proposal. And with that, we'll break for questions. Is there
was a question in the chat that I don't think it was asked in the first webinar. Is there a match requirement in the Community Rides Grant?
No, excuse me, there's no match requirement in the Community Rides Grant program.
Thank you. And another question that was asked in regards to the budget document, is this the proposer's overall budget or just a budget for the Community Rides Grant project?
Just the Community Rides Grant project. And if there's additional funds, then you would note that.
Okay, so just for the project. And then there were a few other questions. And I did type the answers, but you might want to expound upon it. How is the grant awardee selected and what is the total funds available? The grant awardees are selected by a committee that includes National RTAP staff, and the total funds that are available is $250,000, which will be divided among the awardees.
Yes, there's, what was the question one more time, Kara? The total allocated spending is 250,000.
Yeah, but I think you said that the minimum is 25,000 and the maximum is 100,000 that people can be asking for.
That's right. That's right. And if I could return back to the budget question, and I'll answer this more complete in the Q&A that we post, but it does ask if there's, the Community Rides Grant program, but if there's additional supporting funds for specific to the Community Rides Grant program, then those should also be noted. I'll provide more details in the Q&A. But if, for example, it's tied to a larger project, you don't need to include that budget necessarily, if that makes sense.
Okay, we have 4 questions. The first one is, our town is looking at expanding our services by adding Saturday to our operations. Is this eligible for the Community Rides Grant?
Yes, the expanded service hours would be eligible. And there's a couple examples of that in the past Community Rides Grant program.
But again, they'd have to have a partner.
They have to have a local partner, exactly. And it has to meet the other goals of the Community Rides Grant program. It's serving a specific need within the community, and really having that local partner to address that need and to collaborate with.
Okay, next question. How many awardees were selected last year? I have to look on the website. I think it was
Yeah.
19.
There's 19. Yeah, so that was a few years ago, and there were 19. There was more funding available in that round. There's not, this is an annual funding amount though, so there's opportunities, for um, for additional projects in the future. But there were 19 in the first round.
Yeah, it was 2021 was the last time we offered this grant. Okay, the next question. We are currently working on implementing a deviated fixed route. This is a new service and we hope to have it implemented this fall. Because we're already working on implementing the route, would this initiative qualify for this grant opportunity?
Could you read that? The DVA fixed route is a new service we hope to have implemented this fall.
Okay. This agency has already started working on implementing a new deviated fixed route. So it's new.
Yeah.
They've already started working on it and hope to have it implemented this fall. It's hard to say fall starts September 21st and then it's December something. Because we're already working on implementing the route, will this initiative qualify for this grant opportunity?
That's a difficult question, because if you're planning to implement it in the fall, then technically it might be an existing service. I'd maybe think about if there's other opportunities to expand on it. But if and again, I'll give this some more thought and answer it in the Q&A that we post on the Community Rides Grant webpage. But given it's going to be launching, as we're awarding these projects, unless there's a new component to it, then I would say it would not qualify.
Right. Okay, the next question, this is an interesting one. If you have received the Community Rides Grant before, are you eligible to apply this year?
Yes, you are.
But it would have to be a different project.
A different project, yes, but you are eligible.
Okay, next, can we ask for partial funding of up to $100,000 if the project is large and we locally fund the rest?
Yes, that would be eligible. And I think, given, and we talk about this a little bit in the Q&A document that's posted on the webpage, the Community Rides webpage. I think, we hope to fund a range of projects, because there's 250,000, but, so it'll be a range of projects, from some smaller to larger, and to really try to, maximize sort of the impact of this across the country.
And this one you sort of just answered. So if you only have 250,000 in total funding, are you only giving out 3 to 4 grants?
I think that we would, like I say, we hope to maximize the funding, but I think realistically, maybe somewhere between 5 and 7 grants. But again, that all depends on what the projects are that come in. But I think with that range of funding, that's what we're hoping to support.
Okay. The next question, what is the role of a local partner?
So the more involved the local partner is, the better. There's, and just to make a stronger proposal, but there's really, no necessarily, and in the proposal, and in the grants application portal, there's, places to describe the role of the partner and attaching the letter. There's really no specified role though. It's really up to the project and working with the local partner to work together as much as possible. And the more they work together, I think, the stronger a proposal would be.
You can see on our website examples of some of the local partners that awardees selected.
Yeah. And those range from different, health service providers to employers to, cities. It's a range of local partners.
Okay, the next question, would a regional partnership on a pilot program using volunteer drivers be an eligible project?
It would be if the regional partner, if there's a local partner involved, and if it's a 5311 recipient and the target area meets the rural definition of a rural area. In addition to aligning with the other requirements outlined in the RFP. And that actually kind of is a segue to the next question, what qualifies as rural? That is, we actually answered that in the previous webinar in the Q&A document, but there's following the 5311 funding formula and under 50,000 people, but that I would direct you to the Q&A for definition of a rural area and what qualifies.
Can you use this in the renovation of an operations office?
That's a good question. If it's I guess if it's a 5311 recipient and if it's meeting a specific need within the community and it aligns with the other goals outlined in the RFP. But I would say, but I would like to give that one a little more thought. But yes, this can be used for. This should be able to be used for that, provided it meets those other requirements. But again, I'd like to give that one a little more thought, and I can address that in the Q&A document.
Yeah, and you can't, buy a vehicle, so this might be something similar.
You're not allowed to purchase a vehicle. I know, like in the past grantees, like there was, somebody used it to, supplemented with other resources coming in. The county, for example, helps support things, but they were able to use it for, bus shelters and different aspects. But I will answer that in more depth in the Q&A document.
Okay, next one. This is a follow-up question. There are components of the deviated fixed route that the agency cannot implement until 2026. This is the one who is getting stuff ready in the fall due to budget constraints. They need to purchase new scheduling software to help with efficiency and expand capability to accept various payment methods. Would this make it qualified for the grant opportunity?
That one, that would provided there's a new aspect to the project, either expanded service or new service or enhancing the technology. I believe that would qualify. But again, I'll also give that question some more thought.
Okay, the next one. Someone is running an expansion route currently during zero zone, I think, free fare. Or
ozone free fare.
Ozone free fare to see if there is a need. They've determined that even without free fare, there is a need to continue it. Can they apply the funding to help win this effort to continue the expansion route?
If it's an existing route, and it's just used, and the funding is just used to supplement the fares on an existing route, then no, I don't believe it would qualify.
And then it, again, also needs a partner.
It needs, and all these questions, they need to meet all the other criteria outlined in the RFP, with the local partner being critical to that piece, because this project really is aimed at supporting local partnerships and really to address a specific need within the community.
Okay, great. And the next one, would a project that improves data collection, analysis, and donor relations by implementing software for an existing program qualify?
If it's an existing service, it's kind of similar to the deviated fixed route. Um, if it's that I believe that would qualify. Given it can't be used to supplement existing transit service. But if you're supplementing that with technology software, again, these are these are detailed questions. I will provide more information on that as well in the Q&A document. But there's, for example, one of the projects that, just to give you an example of an eligible activity is RideSheet. And implementing RideSheet would be, and that could be for existing service, but implementing RideSheet, provided it meets all the other criteria outlined in the RFP, is and what RideSheet is a scheduling platform for small agencies with 10 or fewer vehicles. And so in that case, you're using technology to help supplement that. So I believe that would fit under there.
And can the grant be tied to a program that's already being implemented, such as Congregate or any other program geared towards low-income, vulnerable clients to increase outreach and services?
If it's already an existing program, then no, it can't be used for that. If, for example, coming back to the fares question that we had earlier, if it's just supplementing the fares, then it wouldn't be eligible under the Community Rides Grant Program. But if there's a new aspect to it, the vulnerable clients specifically need access to maybe a treatment center or access to healthcare, then this would be, the Community Rides Program could be an opportunity to help support that initiative.
Okay, next one. If it was, okay, this is back to the free fare months. It was not an existing route prior to the free fare months. Could we use this funding to make it a permanent route? You have to look more into that.
Yeah, I'll look more into that. So if it wasn't yeah, I'll look into that more. If it's not a permanent route, then it would be eligible. And if it was just and if it's serving a specific need within the community, then I believe, but let me check into that a little bit more.
Okay, I think you've answered all the questions, Al. We can wait a minute and see if anybody else has a question.
That's great. And, and again, we'll review the questions that were submitted, and we will be posting that online, and we'll send in, by Monday or Tuesday at the latest, we'll have that available, and sooner if we can, or if there might be some gaps within that, we'll work to getting that up as soon as possible.
Okay, we got one more question while you were asking that. What about a program that provides transportation assistance to individuals? Is that an eligible project?
This is really tied to a great, the community and community benefit. So if it's specific individual, if it's a particular group within the community, then and it's providing a service, then it would be eligible. But it needs to also, the RFP outlines this. There's also, it needs to be available to the community at large as well. And so it's not really geared toward individualized service.
he'll expand upon that, the Q&As.
Yeah, and I'll expand upon that as well. So, so today was really just an opportunity to, answer questions and also to give you an overview of the grants portal so that everyone was familiar with it, and then the cost allocation calculator. And so, but if there are additional questions that come up, there's the grants email that it's available on the Community Rides Grant webpage. You could please feel free to send an email, and we'll be updating the Q&A document throughout this process.
Okay, thanks everyone for their great questions. We have a lot more coming up, quite a few events. There is a book discussion group meeting in August. The book is Bus People. It's about an author who decided to ride a Greyhound bus for 30 days and talked about all his exploits. He will be joining us. So even if you haven't read the book, you can join the first part of the session and hear what he has to say. Then we're having a transit manager peer roundtable with a mobility management focus. So that will be Robin Phillips, Jeremy Bell, and Anjali Dixon will be talking about mobility management and answering all your questions about mobility management. So that's coming up in August too. We also just posted, we're having another tribal and rural transit mini conference. We had one in Santa Fe recently, and this next one is in Rapid City, South Dakota. So the application is open if you want to sign up for it, or you can just look at the agenda. And speaking of conferences, our Technical Assistance Conference, it's not too far from now, December 7th through 10th in Austin, Texas, Wrangling Access and Mobility in Rural and Tribal Transit. So you can go to that link. These slides will be on our website soon, and there's a page in our news section just for that conference if you want to apply. You can also submit a student poster. You can nominate somebody for the Walk of Fame, and you can even sponsor the conference. This I just posted yesterday on our website, but in October, we're going to have a fall for new national RTAP resources. So we're doing one in the spring and one in the fall, and this is everything we've done that's new since then. And it looks like we have another question and answer.
Yeah.
Brainstorming
So
here. You want
I read that one. So it's brainstorming here with an informational video used to train riders on how to ride transit and navigate current transit systems be eligible. Thinking of partnering with local transits to make the video inclusive. And yes, marketing, thinking about that as maybe a marketing video or a marketing piece. Marketing is an eligible activity under the Community Rides Grant Program.
Yeah, great. And if you make the video, send it to us. We'd like to showcase it.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you everyone for attending, and please keep an eye out on the website. We'll be posting the Q&A document, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out at the grants email, RTAP grants email. Thank you so much.